If you haven't posted anything online in the last 6 months, people probably think you're falling behind, or worse, isolated. But psychologically speaking, you've just activated the most dangerous social advantage humans possess. It's called weaponized silence, and while they perform for likes, you are quietly controlling the game. Let's start with a brutal truth. Society has conditioned you to believe that visibility equals value. If you are not seen, you do not exist. When someone suddenly stops posting, the immediate assumption from the outside world is that something is wrong. They think you are depressed, lacking confidence, or simply failing at life. But they are completely misreading the situation. You are not hiding. You are opting out of a rigged game where the only prize is cheap dopamine and constant surveillance. When you constantly update your status, share your location, and broadcast your daily thoughts, you are giving away the most valuable currency in the modern world, your psychological data. You are telling everyone exactly what you care about, what hurts you, and how you spend your time. You become an open book, and open books are incredibly easy to read, predict, and ultimately manipulate. But when you go completely silent, you create something deeply unsettling to the human mind. You create an information void, and the human brain absolutely despises a void. When people look at your inactive profile, they can no longer categorize you. They don't know if you are quietly struggling or if you are privately building an empire. Because they have no new data to process, their subconscious mind goes into overdrive. They are forced to fill that empty space themselves. This triggers what we call the blank canvas effect. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting their own deepest anxieties. If they are deeply insecure about their own careers, they will instinctively wonder if you are secretly outperforming them. If they are obsessed with validation, they will be intimidated by your ability to live without it. Your silence doesn't make you irrelevant, it transforms you into a psychological puzzle they cannot solve. Think about the fundamental mechanics of power. In any high-stakes negotiation, the person who speaks the least always holds the most leverage. The one who desperately reveals their hand first is the one who loses. On social media, 99% of people are screaming for attention, voluntarily exposing their flaws, their daily routines, and their emotional triggers to anyone watching. They are handing over the blueprint to their own minds. You, on the other hand, operate like a ghost. You observe everything, but you offer absolutely nothing in return. You know their routines, their breakups, and their desperate attempts at validation, but they know absolutely nothing about you. By removing yourself from the feed, you have effectively stripped the crowd of the ability to judge you, compare themselves to you, or sabotage your progress. This is not social anxiety. This is a highly calculated tactical retreat. You are weaponizing your silence to maintain absolute, unshakable control over your own narrative. Welcome to the architecture of modern surveillance. In the late 18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham designed a conceptual prison called the panopticon. The genius of the panopticon was its structure. A single guard tower sat in the center of a circular building, surrounded by backlit cells. The prisoners could never see inside the tower, so they never knew exactly when they were being watched. Because they might be observed at any given second, they began to constantly police their own behavior. They became their own wardens. Look at your phone. Social media is the ultimate digital panopticon. But here is the critical shift in power. The people who post constantly are the inmates, desperately performing for an audience they cannot see. And you, the one who never posts? You are sitting quietly in the center tower. You are engaged in what military strategists call asymmetrical warfare. This is a conflict where two opposing sides possess vastly different levels of power, tactics, and resources. By remaining silent, you have secured the ultimate high ground. Every time your peers log on, they engage in a phenomenon we can call toxic generosity. They believe they are simply sharing milestones, venting frustrations, or participating in viral trends. In reality, They are voluntarily bleeding psychological data. They are giving away their triggers. They are highlighting their deepest insecurities, often thinly disguised as inspirational quotes, gym selfies, or self-deprecating humor. They show you exactly who they are trying to impress, where their loyalties lie, and what it takes to break them. When someone posts a furious rant about a minor inconvenience, they are telling you they lack emotional regulation. When they post highly curated, overly filtered images of their romantic relationships, they are screaming that they need external validation to feel secure in their own homes. They hand you the exact blueprint of their emotional operating system, absolutely free of charge. Meanwhile, your data is locked in a vault. You offer no breadcrumbs, no status updates for them to analyze, no check-ins for them to track. This creates a terrifying power dynamic known as the ghost advantage. Because you possess all of their intelligence, and they possess absolutely none of yours, you can evaluate every relationship in your life with surgical precision. You can watch a friend's subtle shift in behavior, analyze a colleague's desperate need for validation, or observe the unraveling of an ex-partner, all without leaving a single digital fingerprint. You can accurately predict their next moves, because they are broadcasting their subconscious desires in real time. More importantly, this asymmetry gives you the ultimate authority over your social circle, the power of silent execution. If you realize someone is toxic, superficial, or simply no longer aligns with your life, you do not need to announce your departure. You do not need to initiate a dramatic confrontation or unfollow them in a fiery display of boundary setting. You simply fade out. You revoke their access to your energy from the safety of the shadows, leaving them completely unaware that they were even being evaluated. They cannot attack what they cannot see. They cannot manipulate a mind they do not understand, and they cannot compete with someone who refuses to step into the arena. In this modern digital landscape, they are fighting in broad daylight, swinging blindly at the opinions of strangers. You are operating in the dark, armed with night vision. You aren't just observing the game, you are quietly keeping the score and deciding who is still worth your time. Most people are terrified of being forgotten. They believe that if they stop showing up on the feed, they will simply fade into obscurity. They post not out of joy, but out of a desperate need to maintain their relevance. But this is where the first massive psychological twist comes into play. You think your silence makes people forget you. Science proves the exact opposite. Your silence makes them obsessed. To understand why, we have to look at a cognitive principle discovered by a Russian psychologist in the 1920s, known as the Zeigarnik effect. The premise is brilliantly simple, but incredibly devastating. The human brain is hardwired to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks significantly better than completed ones. We possess a biological craving for cognitive closure. When a puzzle is finished, the brain discards it. But when a puzzle is missing its final piece, the brain fixates on it, running it on an endless loop in the subconscious, desperately trying to resolve the tension. When you constantly post your life online, you are giving people closure. You are finishing the puzzle for them every single day. They know what you ate, who you are dating, where you traveled, and what you are angry about. Their brain registers the information, completes your psychological file, and immediately moves on to the next piece of cheap digital stimulation. You become entirely forgettable because you are entirely resolved. But when you suddenly stop posting, you become an open loop. You become an unresolved cognitive tension. Let's look at the ultimate testing ground for this theory: human relationships. Think about a breakup or a falling out with a toxic friend. If your ex-partner immediately starts posting pictures of their new life, their new workouts, or a new romantic interest, it might sting at first. But psychologically, they have handed you a massive gift. They have given you closure. You know exactly what they are doing, and exactly how they are coping. The puzzle is complete. Your brain can process the data and eventually let it go. Now, imagine the person who goes entirely ghost. No updates, no passive-aggressive quotes, just complete and total silence. They vanish from the digital grid. This is what we call the Zeigarnik torture. This doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It applies to your rivals, your former friends, and your silent competitors. When you stop broadcasting your successes and failures, you strip them of their ability to measure their own progress against yours. A silent rival is terrifying because you never know if they are resting or if they are 10 steps ahead, quietly preparing to outmaneuver you. Because there is no new information, the brain cannot close the file. The people watching you are forced to ask questions they cannot answer. Are you hurting? Have you leveled up? Have you found someone better? Or are you completely destroyed? The lack of data forces their own imagination to work against them. They will check your empty profile repeatedly, not because they care about your well-being, but because their brain is chemically demanding an answer to the open loop you created. You have unintentionally, or perhaps intentionally, hacked their cognitive processing. By giving them absolutely nothing, you have forced them to think about you constantly. This is the dark power of weaponized mystery. While the rest of the world is screaming to be noticed, your total absence is echoing louder than any status update ever could. You are no longer just a person on a screen. You are an unsolved mystery, and the human mind simply cannot resist a mystery it cannot solve. Let us examine the hidden currency of the digital age. If you look closely, you will realize that social media does not run on human connection. It runs on an envy economy. Every time someone posts a promotion, a luxury vacation, or a picture-perfect relationship, they are not just sharing a moment. Subconsciously, they are weaponizing their happiness to trigger a sense of lack in you. They are demanding that you compare your chaotic, behind-the-scenes reality to their highly curated highlight reel. But there is a fatal flaw in their strategy, one that most people do not realize until it is too late. When you demand public attention, you inevitably invite private resentment. There is a dark psychological concept known as Schadenfreude. It is a German term that describes the twisted, subconscious pleasure people experience from the misfortune of others. When you broadcast your life, you are gathering an audience. And human nature, in its rawest form, dictates that while a few people in that audience genuinely want you to win, a silent, deeply envious majority is simply waiting for you to fail. Pay attention to the people who watch every single one of your stories, but never leave a like or a comment. They are not checking on you out of love. They are monitoring you. When you brag about your new relationship, you attract the silent malice of those who are bitterly lonely. When you flex your financial success, you invite the quiet sabotage of those who are secretly struggling. In ancient cultures, this was known as the evil eye, the belief that the envious glare of a spectator could actually manifest bad luck and destroy your prosperity. Today, the evil eye is not a myth, it is the algorithm. Every time you post a personal victory, you are painting a massive target on your own back. But the person who never posts? They have cracked the ultimate defensive code. They possess absolute bulletproof immunity. It is a fundamental rule of warfare. You cannot destroy what you cannot see. By keeping your goals, your finances, and your relationships completely offline, you are wrapping your life in an impenetrable invisibility shield. You are protecting your most sacred realities from the toxic consumption of the crowd. There is no audience waiting for your downfall, because no one even knows what mountain you are climbing. If you fail in private, allowing you to recover and rebuild without the humiliation of a public spectacle. And when you win in silence, keeping the pure, untainted satisfaction entirely for yourself. Think about the profound psychological relief of this realization. You are no longer performing. You do not have to prove that you are happy just to be believed. You do not have to curate your success to make it real. While the rest of the world is utterly exhausted, constantly defending their digital facade against the silent judgment and evil eye of hundreds of strangers, you are operating in total peace. In a society that is tearing itself apart for a fleeting moment of validation, true luxury is not being seen by everyone. True luxury is being completely untouchable. Let's elevate this from social strategy to biological warfare, because the ultimate advantage of the silent observer is not just social, it is neurochemical. Here is the second massive psychological twist you need to understand. The people posting 10 times a day are not simply sharing their lives. From a neurological standpoint, they are emotional beggars. They have entirely outsourced their emotional regulation to an algorithm. Every time they upload a photo, they are essentially handing their self-worth to a crowd of strangers and asking, "Am I still valuable? Do I still matter?" When the likes roll in, their brain receives a massive spike of cheap, unearned dopamine. But the brain is a highly adaptive machine. It quickly builds a tolerance. Soon, 10 likes are not enough. Then 100 is not enough. Their baseline dopamine levels crash, leaving them in a perpetual state of chemical withdrawal, anxiously refreshing their screens just to feel a fleeting sense of normalcy. They are trapped in a neurochemical prison of their own making. Now, look at the person who never posts. Look at the ghost. They have committed the ultimate act of rebellion, the dopamine defection. By completely detaching from the validation loop, they force their brain to undergo a brutal but necessary reset, returning to its natural, primitive baseline. They do not require a digital notification to feel a sense of accomplishment. They do not need a comment section to validate their reality. When they achieve a goal, the reward is generated entirely from within. They experience the pure, unadulterated satisfaction of the accomplishment itself, untouched and uncorrupted by the fleeting opinions of the crowd. This is a modern application of a very ancient, very powerful philosophy. It is digital stoicism. The core tenet of stoicism is recognizing what you have absolute control over and ruthlessly discarding what you do not. When you post your life online, you surrender your mood, your focus, and your self-image to the unpredictable chaos of the public. You willingly give an algorithm direct access to your nervous system, but when you choose to stay silent, you sever that connection completely. You build an impenetrable emotional fortress. Think about the sheer, terrifying discipline it takes to witness the entire world addicted to a digital slot machine and simply refuse to pull the lever. To go on a breathtaking vacation, look at a stunning sunset, and intentionally keep your phone in your pocket, deciding that the memory belongs only to you. To know exactly how brilliant, successful, or attractive you are, and feel absolutely zero desire to prove it to anyone else. That is not antisocial behavior. That is God-tier emotional control. While the rest of society is a slave to their own neurochemistry, begging for scraps of validation, you are quietly acting as the master of yours. Let us conclude with a brutal, undeniable reality check. Look at the timeline right now. 99% of what is being frantically uploaded today, the filtered selfies, the emotional rants, the carefully staged aesthetic moments, will become completely meaningless, digital trash by tomorrow morning. The crowd is screaming into an algorithmic abyss that does not care about them, leaving behind a permanent digital footprint of their own deepest insecurities. But you have evolved past the need to participate in this exhausting charade. You have realized that true, unshakable power is not found in a viral moment or a trending hashtag. True power is the rare ability to sit alone in a completely quiet room, stripping away the noise of the world and knowing exactly what your life is worth, without needing a single stranger to push a confirmation button. When you stop posting, you stop auditioning for your own existence. You take your psychological sovereignty back from the algorithm, from the envious eyes of passive observers, and from the toxic cycle of digital comparison. You become the ghost. And as we have established today, the ghost always holds the ultimate strategic advantage. You control the narrative by providing no narrative at all. You possess all the social intelligence, yet you remain completely immune to the warfare of the feed. So, here is your ultimatum. The next time you feel that socially conditioned urge to pick up your phone, to capture a private, beautiful moment, and serve it on a silver platter for public consumption, stop, take a slow breath, look at the reality you are standing in, and ask yourself, why would you ever trade this absolute, untouchable piece for their chaotic, cheap validation? Do not step back into that artificial light. The game is mathematically rigged against the loudest players. Stay in the shadows. Keep them entirely in the dark. Let them obsessively wonder what you are building, who you are loving, and how you are surviving so brilliantly without their applause. Because while they are desperately busy performing for the world, you are the one quietly ruling it. If you have chosen the path of the ghost, and you finally understand the dark psychological power of your own weaponized silence, drop a comment below. Let me know you are watching from the shadows. And if this breakdown resonated with your quiet, strategic nature, hit the subscribe button right now. We decode the deepest, most dangerous mechanics of human behavior on this channel, and you will not want to miss the intelligence we uncover next. Stay silent, stay unpredictable, and stay powerful.